Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we have top 5 reasons couples never talk again. Top 5 reasons couples never talk again post breakup. And the reason I want to talk about never, because it's just a strong word, highly dramatic and trigger based, and you use it yourself, you are your own worst enemy. The reality is, what is never, right? I mean, it's just a highly dramatic way of handling your breakup, and it's just not going to help you. And I hear it all the time. They're never going to talk to me again. They'll never call me again. So let's just talk about the reasons that they wouldn't talk to you again and get into that a little deeper. So today we got a story on deck, some questions. If you have a breakup story you want to share, go ahead and go to writemac.com, WRITEMAC.com. Or if you want to book a live coaching session with myself, get into it on a live Zoom call, fully unpack that thing for an hour or two. I'm here for you. All right, let's get into it. Top 5 reasons couples break up and never talk again. God, that sounds dramatic. I get a lot of clients worried that their ex will never talk to them again, that their ex will never contact them again. It's possible. In most cases, it isn't likely that they'll never contact you again. I'd highly recommend you just stop using the word never. It's dramatic, and it triggers your mind to believe that the worst case scenario is going to happen. The reality is you don't know if they'll call you again. You just don't know. And you don't know on what grounds they would call you. Many times they may call you, but it's really not about getting back together. You might owe them some money. You might still be on a lease. They might have left a few clothes at your house. I mean, the list goes on. And that might be a bridge to talk to you again and maybe spark some things up, but who knows? Except that you don't know if and when they'll call you. Can you do that? There's a lot of things you don't know that you'll just accept. And if you are currently using the word never, change that word or phrase. For example, my ex will never call me again. How about this? I'm not sure if they'll call me again. And you can rephrase this to yourself. How about this? I'm not sure if they'll call me again, but I know this. I'm not going to wait around by the phone. I'm not going to sit around hoping, wishing. I'm going to stay busy. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to take my dog on 2 walks a day. I'm going to have dinner with my best friend. I'm going to go hang gliding. Do whatever you want. Stay busy, folks. Sitting on the couch or laying in your bed thinking if your ex is ever going to call you again is actually a rally call for you to get up off your ass and get out of the house. You're trying to predict the future, and you're not a psychic. If someone asked you, do you consider yourself a psychic? Most people would say no. Then stop trying to declare the future for the rest of the time. It's one thing to have a hypothesis, which is an educated guess. It's another to declare the worst when you really just don't know. Tell yourself, even though I don't really know if she'll call me, even if I don't really know if he'll call me again, I'm okay. I'll be okay. I'll live for today. See how that just changes the narrative from I'll never talk to them again? Now, here's the top 5 reasons couples break up and never talk again. Number 1, someone said something that cut way too deep. They went for the ribs and the kneecaps. You said something you'll never be forgiven for. I've actually had clients where we're talking about the story, and I'll say, you said that? You really said that? Some words can't be taken back or fully forgiven by certain individuals. And really, if they do talk to you, it's going to be World War III. It's not going to be nice, probably. So there's sometimes when you just said something too deep and sorry isn't enough, and that's the way they deal with when they're upset or they don't forgive someone, they won't call you again. That's a possibility. Ever, never, highly unlikely, but it's a possibility. Number 2, 5 reasons couples break up and never talk again. You embarrass them in public or at a family event. I mean, you really embarrassed them. Whether that's arguing with them in public, putting them down, the list goes on. Embarrassing someone at a public event or a family event, some people can never let that go sometimes, and that might lead to them not calling you again. Number 3, you went behind their back and talked to their friends and family about the breakup. A lot of people do this. And when they do it, it's just a big no-no. And sometimes people are highly sensitive about you talking to their mom, to their sister. Also, when you do this, the sister, the mother, the father will bring back the information to the individual, and they might twist and turn it themselves. Just don't do it. Now, these 3 that I just mentioned, to recap: someone said something that hurt someone, you embarrassed them in public, you went behind their back to talk to their friends. I would not say these are even highly likely that they'll never talk to you again. Keep in mind, I'm saying never talk to you again, not never get back with you. Those are 2 different things. I would say even those things, there's a good chance that the person might reach out, see how you're doing, vice versa. Now, number 4, this is probably the biggest one. This is the number 1 reason that they actually won't contact you again. Hands down. If someone's really talking to me and we're really in a breakup, they're like, I just know they're never going to contact me again. This is one of the reasons. You ready? They are extremely stubborn and never apologize or make up with anyone in their circle. They actually brag about grudges they hold. They look for ways to flex their ability to shut people out. It's an ability to do this. They've usually learned this as a teenager or a kid as a way to get their way and win an argument. It's kind of like a spoiled brat. They've used the silent treatment or shutting someone out, and it's their way of winning. And that's what they are most concerned with, winning a showdown. They're not going to break. Showing you they won't take or accept any reconciliation because they are so right, and you'll have to pay for this breakup. You'll have to pay for not calling them. These are the people that look for reasons to never talk again. And along the years, they've cut off numerous family members and friends. You were next. To never talk again isn't about you. It's their playbook. This is the number 1 reason someone would not talk to you again. And when you were with them, they made this apparent. Not to you directly, but by what they told you, stories about friends, family, and colleagues. If they say, oh, I'll never talk to that person again. I haven't talked to my mother in 20 years. I'm not saying their reasons aren't valid. I'm not saying that they weren't hurt or upset. I'm saying this is their playbook. If stuff goes down, they get upset, things are done wrong, they will cut you off in a minute and not look back. I don't think it's a healthy way to do things. It's just a way of doing things for certain individuals. You know people like this, and they're completely capable of going all in from the get-go. And they've done it for a long time. So if you look at their actions prior to your breakup, you can kind of get a gauge that this might happen to you, right? And that would be the number 1 reason someone has a possibility of not talking to you. Number 5, they are scared to be rejected. They don't believe they're good enough for you. And deep down inside, they're hurting, and they feel like if they contact you, they'll just hurt more. These types have been put down a lot before you, and now they lost you. They just can't bear another rejection or more anticipated pain. So the way they look at it is, in their life experience, more pain is coming, more rejection's coming, And so they'll just rather not contact you because they're anticipating that worst case scenario because it's happened to them before. So I'd say 4 and 5 are the two biggies. Number 6 as a bonus. Now, a lot of people would think this is number 1. It's not. It's by far not, but I'm going to throw it in there because a lot of people in the comments might be like, oh, this is the number 1 reason. They moved on to a new relationship. This one is interesting because you think it would be number 1. But really, in my experience as a breakup coach for years now, talking to a lot of people and a lot of different situations, scenarios, and breakups, the reason it's not really the number 1 reason is because even though they're in a new relationship, if that relationship goes wrong in a year, 2 years, even 5 years, that's when they'll reach out. These types don't like to be alone too long. And if you're available and you are a pretty good partner, they'll find you post breakup, however long that is. I mean, it could be 10, 15 years. It just won't be right away. If you're sitting around hoping and wishing, you may feel like it'll never happen again. But if they've moved on to a new relationship, I'm not saying to get back with them when they call you. I'm just saying that doesn't necessarily just close the door. Because a lot of people that monkey branch or get into a new relationship right away, if that relationship goes wrong, which is highly possible because they've broken up in one and they can break up in another. And if you were a good partner, they'll contact you again. It's just going to be a long time away, probably. It won't be a month out, 2 months out. Number 7, your bonus. They just want to be single. This is actually very common for people in their 20s. They just want to be single. If you can accept that and not be too dramatic about it, then they will most likely call you eventually. But on the flip side, if you're overly dramatic, you can't accept that, you make a fool out of yourself, you stalk them on social media, you say mean things, then there's a good chance they will never contact you again. All right, we got a story on deck. We got 4 in the live, 5 in the live stream, 4 likes. You are appreciated. If you have any comments to make about this, you have anything that you want me to talk about in a future live stream, just throw it in there. All right, let's get into the story today. Hey, coach, I'm writing you now. It's been on my list all week. Love your content, bro. Well, thanks for saying thank you. I appreciate you. I broke up with my girlfriend 3 weeks ago. I'm 25 and she's 24. We were together for 2 solid years and kind of off and on dated for like a year or so. Okay, the way this was written was a little choppy, but we were together for 2 solid years and kind of off and on dated for like a year or so. So like 3 years you've been seeing each other. I was seeing other women at the time, really not giving a hoot. Then she was just there for me. I had some legal troubles, couple DUIs, and she was just my rock. So this is interesting because a lot of people find and appreciate love in different ways. And when you're at your worst or when you're at your lowest, I've often seen this in biographies of rock stars or actors or ball players, is when they really start to love is when someone was there for them when they fell off, when they lost a bunch of money, when they had to go to jail. And so this is love points for a lot of people. So I get where he's coming from. Always there. So she just gained a lot of stripes through it all. That's love to me. And that's a great statement. That's love to him. So when I finally got my shit together, we moved in together and got an apartment. And it was both our first time living outside our family's house. So there was a lot to get used to. I don't really like doing the vacuum or vacuuming and doing the dishes. She didn't like that either. So that was an issue early because where my moms would clean the house every Sunday and it was always just clean. And my girlfriend wasn't like that, but we got through that. We actually sat down and broke down who did what and stuck to that. Good for you. Then the next 2 years were mostly good. I won't lie. I've hooked up with some other women, but never the point of that being a threat to my relationship or my love for my girl. And I do think she knew what was up, but she knew I was a player when she got with me. She told me a few times, just don't be stupid enough to let me catch you. And I'd laugh it off. She wasn't smiling though, but I always just took that as if she knew what was up. So I had a girl I met through work, and she was just banging, just a fine piece of woman. I mean, she was instantly in my head for days. So we eventually hooked up after she worked there a month, and I worked my game, which really has always been on point. Well, good for you. Pat yourself on the back. I believe you. I had an uncle take me under his wing and just teach me the fundamentals of getting women. Never chase, never be available, and always keep them guessing. It's in a lot of dating books, actually. It's in a lot of attraction books. Do things on your terms. I got all that built in. But here's the thing. Now my girlfriend, after, what's interesting about that? I've had a few clients that are really good with women or have read books on it, and they say, oh, this works for dating. But then they say, once you get in a serious monogamous long-term relationship where you're not really monogamous, but they said those dating pointers, they don't work anymore. I don't think that they don't work. I think the circumstances change and the expectations get higher. So it's just a different ball game. And you got to apply that to the new ball game. Never chase, never be available, and always keep them guessing. That's what he said. But here's the thing. Now my girlfriend, after a couple of years of living together, is talking marriage and kids and worried about my credit score so we can buy a house one day. It was too much, really. Well, bottom line, if she's talking about marriage and kids and all that other stuff, and you're still playing around and kind of laughing about it, you're not ready. And that's okay. Just be honest with yourself. You said, I'm 25. You're not in that mindset. Don't do it. She said, I don't want to grow up. That's her trying to manipulate you. You're 25 years old. Maybe you don't want to grow up and be a Toys R Us kid. I didn't like that at all, and actually started seeing that girl from work more and more. And then I walked down on my girlfriend 3 weeks ago. She was nagging on some petty shit, and I just left. I've been staying between my cousin's house and this girl I've been already seeing. But this last week, I do want to call her, as I've heard from a friend that she saw her out with another dude, a dude I actually know and have hung out with. It's her brother's best friend. So I'm not sure if they were hooking up or what, but it's really getting in my head. See, this is the thing. No matter how much of a player or how good you're with women or how many you're seeing, everyone meets their match, and no one's heart is bulletproof, my friend. And what I mean by bulletproof is, I mean, anything can get to you. So yesterday I did some digging on Snapchat, and they was doing stories together, and it just floored me. I'm heated. I haven't called her, but the crazy thing is, this girl I've been seeing, I just lost all interest. It's like she's nothing to me now. I just want my girlfriend back. I know this other dude doesn't have anything on me, but I can't see myself competing after I already left. That's the danger of social media videos and clips. If you watch something like that, it hurts a lot more than someone just kind of whispering it or gossiping it. It gets real. I'm looking for some advice on how to tame my ego out a bit. I mean, I was messing about for a while. Now she does it once and I flip. I can't show her that. I've never been this caught up in my feelings before. I feel like it's over with us. I feel disrespected. I don't want her back. I'm the one that walked out on her, but damn, why can't I stop thinking about her and this other dude? Well, I mean, it sounds like to you, this is an ego thing, right? Because you've been running the relationship, you've been messing around, you were the one to walk out. I'm betting that when you walked out, that you just thought, we'll get back together. Or she'll continue to chase me and I'll have my way. I can have my cake and eat it too, because you've been having your cake and eat it too for a long time. And the thing about having your cake and eat it too for a long time is there's a beginning to the end. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, who changed the rules? It starts, all of a sudden it's just like, wait, you're not okay with me messing around or seeing someone else or walking out on you? And that's what happens is someone gets sick of it, and then you're like, hey, I thought we're going to play like this forever. No relationship will go on like this forever. When a woman's fed up, she's fed up, and she started seeing someone else. If she's completely able to do that, and now you got to get a taste of your own medicine. Okay, I don't wish that upon you, but this is just how the world works. Call it karma, call it being humbled, but it's actually probably really good for you, because the way you're acting, the way you're talking about this for 2 years, this is a consequence of those actions. So you're saying, oh, I've been with her for 2 years. I know attraction. I see other women. I can get this girl at work. Good for you. I'm not questioning that. I'm not even going to say you're a bad person or a good person, because it's up to your girlfriend to accept what she wants to accept. But I'm just saying that the finish line to that is eventually you end up like this and you're like, wait a minute. She can't do to me what I did to her. Yes, she can. And she's more likely to do that to you because she's been accepting it from you. I don't want her back. I'm the one that walked out on her, but damn, why can't I stop thinking about her and this other dude? The other part, how do I get this snap story out of my head? That's the thing about film or video. It's hard to get out of your head because it's just way too real. It's way too real. And you'll play it back and you'll play it back. That's why I say stay off social media. You don't want to know this stuff. It's hard to get it out of your head. If you read a bunch of text messages between your girlfriend and their new boyfriend, it's going to hurt the hell out of you. I just want to play on and go back to being me. I suddenly can't even look at another woman with the same excitement. What is that? Well, you're stuck. You want to go back to the situation you had before where you were running the show and she was chasing you and you could do anything you wanted. And that was really cool. And you've been doing that for a couple of years. And you even said like the year before you were official, that's what you were doing. So you just thought this would go on forever. But the reality is she just switched the game on to you. And that's the way it goes. And now you're stuck in this, I want the other thing back. And you've been going 2-3 years where she's been chasing you. You've been doing whatever the hell you want, right? And you're kind of laughing in the corner, laughing it off. And you never anticipated, because what someone will accept from you, they'll do to you also. Always remember that. So if you end up with someone that's like, oh, really chill about you cheating or playing around, there's a high probability that she's doing the same thing if she's able to accept that. So you think, oh, this is cool, man. If she's not like that and you've heard her a few times and you've overlooked that, there's going to be a beginning to the end at some point and she's going to move on. That's just the way it goes. All right. I got one more question kind of scenario. So like if you want to send in or put it in the comments, you got a question on your current relationship or a scenario you want me to play out, question, something like that, put it in the comments. Or you can even go to writemac.com and put it in the space of contact me and it'll email me. So this is how this came in. Just want to say, brand new Skinner, yo. All right, so Coach Mac, I got a scenario that isn't a breakup. My boyfriend is away right now in the armed forces. Thank you for his service, I would say. We've been together 2 years and been long distance off and on a year. I mean, just from the get-go, because I've dealt with these, long distance is tough. Long distance with the armed forces is really tough, and there's usually a shelf life on it. I've had clients that broke up before they went in, and I usually tell them it's a good idea because it's just nothing but problems. Long distance is already hard. The armed forces, it can be very unpredictable how long you're going to be gone. People are going to go through some changes depending on where they're stationed. So you have to have a lot of patience and you have to have a really strong bond. And if you have that and you have kids, you can get through it. It's possible. But if you're in your early 20s and it starts to get a little rocky, don't be surprised. It's not an easy route to go. So we've been together 2 years, been long distance, off and on a year. Right now I have this feeling he's going, I guess you mean off and on long distance. Right now I have this feeling he's going to break up with me, and he's been so distant. He's just not the same on the FaceTime calls. I think he might be seeing someone else, as he's mentioned this other woman a few times, but I'm not sure. So here, right there, when you say I think means I don't know. I mean, this is a time to not beat around the bush. Ask direct questions. Go, hey, are you seeing this other woman? And look in his eyes and see how he answers you. If he looks away or he changes the subject, maybe there's a good chance. If he looks at you and says, no, I'm not seeing her. Ask some direct questions. Don't assume. Okay? Don't like, and here's the other part about when you ask direct questions. Ask a direct question like, are you seeing her? And or are you messing around with her? And then decide, okay, I trust your answer. Don't keep asking it or accusing. Once they say it, if you have trust their answer, give them the benefit of the doubt, or you don't really have a good relationship at all. He told me he just misses me and is tired from his duties on the ship. I mean, sounds quite possible. I mean, why would you consider that a lie? Like I said, ask him directly about this woman that he's mentioned a few times and see how he answers that question. The idea that he misses you and he's tired from work on the ship, quite possible. Why wouldn't you believe that? But we've been doing this a long time. Why would it be an issue now? Well, I'm sure the duties on these ships or on these they can change. I'm sure he gets another person that's in charge that can change. So I don't think it's one of those, when you're in the armed forces, things can change quick. I have clients that are in the armed forces. They have all kinds of twists and turns, and they get in different units. They go to different countries. Those variables will change your feelings. I have clients that love one place they're stationed and hate another place. They have different duties in different places. I have no idea what it is on a ship, but you're gonna have to be there for him, and it's quite possible that he's just off because of where he's at right now, due to his duties. How do we turn things around and just not end up breaking up and giving up? I would just say this: don't assume. Ask him direct questions, and then why are you not believing him? Did he cheat on you before? And just let him know when he's tired or something like that. This would be a really good. Hey, if you're tired right now, we can talk later. Don't push it. No one likes to talk when they're tired, right? Be a little bit more understanding and compassionate, but you're gonna have to trust them. And if you really think that other woman's there, just ask a direct question without being accusational. There's a difference, a big difference. All right, so let me get into the chat. Maria Min. So what if we broke up 2 weeks ago and he just said he's going through a lot and doesn't want a relationship with anyone right now, but he loves me and doesn't want to disappear from each other's life? We're 2 weeks in no contact. Next week, we're supposed to meet and talk. Should I reach out and give a hi, space? I miss him. Maria, with all due respect, I need to know a little bit more about the story, so go ahead and write it into writemac.com. But off the top, if you want me to give you the short answer, what's the problem? What's the problem? Like what's the problem? He doesn't want a relationship with anyone right now. What's the deeper problem from that? Is it because he wants to see other people? Because he's got some family issues? He's got money issues? There's something deeper to that. It's just like when someone says, a lot of time a woman's go-to is, I'm just not in love anymore. Money issues. How'd I know? Okay, so dad died a year. Okay. He's a bit depressed, money issues, dad died. So he probably needs some therapy or some coaching to get to his, I was being difficult and ungrateful. Well, I just say that here's the thing. When you have a lot of problems and life can be turbulent in certain times, myself included, I'm 41. I've been through some things, and you think it's not going to get better and you think it's just a stack of shit. You got to, one thing you got to do is you got to separate things. All right, my money issue separate. Where am I depressed from? My dad dying a year ago, that's separate than the money thing. You don't want to stack all these things. But he definitely probably see some kind of therapist, coach, hypnotherapist, and get into his feelings and release some of that. The idea, do you agree that you've been difficult and ungrateful? Do you agree with that assessment? Or are you just saying that's what he feels? What's your guys' age and how long have you actually been together would be my other question. He said he doesn't want to lose our relationship, but he just doesn't think it's fair to me because he knows I want a lot in a man. He was also in the Air Force. Well, thank you for your service. Excuse me. It's my water. Wow. Okay. Okay. You've only been together 5 months. So there's going to be, no offense to you, Maria. He's been in the Air Force. He's been around the world. He's lost a parent. There's going to be probably some maturity gap there. I would highly recommend, if you're up for it, to do a live coaching with myself to get out in front of this. 5 months isn't very long. So right now he might need to get, if he's got really bad money issues, then that might be paramount right now. I don't know how deep that is, because money issues is pretty broad, but if it's really low, then that's, you're in debt. It's scary. But definitely give him his space and respect what he's asked of you. Don't push him around. That's what I would say. But I'd highly recommend, even though you haven't broken up yet, this would be a good time to unpack it if you want to do a live coaching session. You want to book that. He's working and studying, yeah. So a guy like this will be more receptive to you. Thank you, Sabina. A guy like this would be more receptive. You listen to what he's asking. Okay, what we do a lot. What we do a lot, right, is you think what you want, especially when you're in your early 20s. I'm not accusing you of this. I'm just being real with you, Maria. You do a lot of what I want, what you think he did. But if you listen, he's got stuff outside of you, and he says right now doesn't want to lose our relationship, but he just doesn't think it's fair to me because he knows I want a lot in a man, and he was also in the Air Force. So maybe your expectations are too high for him, and he just needs space, and it's timing. But there's probably a lot more to this. And before you talk to him, if you want to do talk about this in a live coaching session, I definitely could help you. This is actually the best time to talk. And I don't. Okay. Well, let me do this. Because I think I'm booked up in the morning tomorrow. Because this is kind of time sensitive for you, because you should talk before you talk to him. That's my email, coachmacmccarthy@gmail. If you don't find a time that works for you before you talk to him, let me know, and I'll see if I can find a time through email. But go ahead and go to the website first. 5 months is a turning point. 5 months is a turn. Thank you so much. You're so helpful, and this is great timing. Actually, this is the time to do it, especially if you plan to meet up. And there's still a lot of attraction there. Maria, let me ask you this question. It's always good for you to know. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your attraction? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your connection and chemistry? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your trust? Now, if your trust is anywhere below a 9, which really it should be a 10, that's where a lot of your issues are in a long-term relationship, because when you don't trust someone, you question them and you don't give them the benefit of the doubt. And if you're in that first 5 months, and you cannot trust them because you're just insecure. So you got a 10 on trust, a 10 on of attraction, and an 8.5 to a 9 on connection. Okay, well, that's pretty good. That's important. Then trust what he told you at the end and give him a little bit of space. Let him digest to that. Let him sit in it. Because it will surprise him. If you keep asking him questions or make accusations or come on, let him miss you a little bit. Let him miss you a little bit. But there's a lot of attraction when someone breaks up with you. in the way they do, and they're surprised that you don't chase or question them. Connections started fading when we started seeing each other less and less due to the work and stress. Yeah, we can talk about that. I have a lot of clients in the military, actually. So I know from talking to men and women, but specifically a lot of men that are in the military, they've been on the other end of this, and they can be stressed. I know he was also in the Air Force. So if he was also in the Air Force and now he's out of the Air Force within the last year or 2 years, it could be hard to get back into regular society. Some people have a lot of trouble out of the military at first, just adapting to the differences. Okay, we had 9 on deck, 6 likes. I appreciate it. Mr. Joe Helka, give him space. Let him come to you when he's ready. Sabina, it's always good to catch up with you. Maria, you're young for this drama. Mac, it was great. Streamcook for a story. Thank you. We had Skinner's come in for a little bit. FNM, I feel as though my ex has forgotten me because I haven't heard from him in like a month, and it makes me feel like I didn't matter. It's so hard to move on with such thoughts. Well, FNM, I've seen you a few times on the live stream. Go ahead and book a live coaching session. You don't find it helpful or useful, I'll give you a refund. Absolutely sincere on that. Actually, the last Skinner, how you doing, bud? Actually, the last few months, I've incorporated the tapping, and I've also incorporated the hypnotherapy, which is like a guided meditation, into the coaching. And so when you're stuck, when you're really stuck, these things help. EFT, which you can look up EFT on, is the emotional freedom technique, which sounds highly dramatic, but works very well. What a name, right? Emotional freedom technique. Sometimes people come up with these names and you're just like, just cheese whiz, right? But it works. And especially, like I said, you're feeling like he forgot you, but there's probably something deeper there. There's probably something deeper there, and that'll come up in a talk. So like I said, I highly recommend booking a live coaching session. We can go from there. FM. Okay, I'm sorry. There's an FP that comes on the live stream also. I will. This was perfect time. I lost the streams, but found them again. So thankful. No problem, Maria. No problem. I promise I'll help you. I'm sincere in that way. Especially when you're stuck, right? Like you feel like you didn't matter and you're stuck on that thought. One of the biggest things I've learned is sometimes to stop fighting what you're feeling. That's what I was going to say, is you're hurt more than you're stuck. That's usually at the core of it. Someone hurt you and you're upset about it. You don't want to share it with a lot of people, so you say a lot of other things. Not you specifically. But you know what I mean? I've noticed that with a lot of clients recently. We'll get into the tapping, we'll talk about things, and then it'll go from, they did this, they did that, they hurt me. And then the tears will come up. That's actually a good thing when the tears come up. Sabina, a lot of people do it. So it's not you. It's like I've had, men clients. She did this, she did that. It's like this outer shell. And then it's like, we go through the tapping. It's like, she hurt me. All of a sudden, the emotion comes up. At the core of a breakup, both people are hurt. But most people don't like to go around telling people they're hurt. It's not something that they feel is admirable. And that's why, what's really cool now is doing coaching like I do, being in a Zoom call. I think that, as I breathe it out, It's so much easier to be comfortable in your own room, in your own space, at your own home, at your preferred time than going into an office, seeing a secretary, never meeting the person before. So like if you chose me or you chose someone else, at least you've seen them on YouTube or one of these things and kind of know if you like the person. Sometimes you don't like a person. You don't like my personality. You don't like the way I look. Then don't. These things count. But when you talk on Zoom, it makes you more comfortable to let out those feelings. No one's listening. It really does help. Odd Carlo, it was sort of both of our. I'm sorry, let's go back to Skinner. I'm the reason me and my ex won't talk again. No interest in speaking to her. Well, never say never. Maybe she contacts you. I totally do that. Actually, I've never told her. So while she was the one made excuses and lies for not going out with me, I know she didn't want to hang out, but she liked the attention I have given her. Most people like attention. Unfortunately, Maria, there isn't a payment plan, but you can do the $25 one that you share on YouTube. When would you share that? I can do it tomorrow. I can add it to the line tomorrow. I'm going to be on tomorrow. So if you want to do that, that might help you for starters. And then what I do, Maria, is if you spend $25 on the sending in your story, I'll apply that to a coaching session. So I'll take that off. So you're not, double charged for two different services. But go ahead and send the story in. And I think I have two on deck for tomorrow, but we can throw you in there. But it's also complicated because even though it was so tough of a relationship, we ended it in a way where we could possibly rekindle in the future. Hard to explain, but it makes it difficult to miss him, but also realize I was so mistreated. Well, so here's the thing. This is what's important when you break up, is starting to process. Was this a good thing? Was this a bad thing? Is this a relationship I want back? Was I treated well? What do I really want? So you can process the good and the bad, the happy and the sad. A lot of times post breakup, you just want to get back together because you want to get rid of the hurt, or you just want to break up and not talk to them again because you're not processing all the stuff. They actually have to get away from them to process stuff. And then just be careful, FM. Friends, family, and colleagues, they're not everyone's trained or versed in helping people with breakups. Not everyone has a sensitivity button. And so you can go to friends, family, and colleagues, and they can say some things that hurt you or make things worse. So talk to myself or another coach out there and get out in front of this, because it'll affect your next relationship. But it makes it difficult to miss him, but also realize I was also mistreated. Sure. Mixed feelings. I'm over it and I'm indifferent. So if I saw her in person, I'd speak and I'd be cordial. But unless she initiates, I won't speak. Good for you, Skinner. That's a great feeling when it's indifference. It's nice. When you get to that point, you go, I don't even know how I got here. She tries to add me when my birthday nearly comes, but never reaches out. Never reach out. I never thought about it this way. That actually kind of helps. Yeah, I never told anyone about my relationship. It will. Like I said, you want to talk to someone else, go ahead. But if you let it go in a way that you didn't process it correctly or find a way to have some good meaning from it, it'll bubble up later on in your next relationship. And it'll just affect your overall happiness. We store feelings in our body. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time, which is Cali time. I'm in California currently. And Maria, just go ahead and take some time on that story. More details, the better. You don't have to say any names. I don't say any names or anything like that. Okay, folks. Yeah, I wish I could find a way to process everything. This has been so hard. Book a live coaching session or send your story and let's do it. If you don't find it useful or helpful, I'll give you a refund, but I promise you I'm very good at this. Very good. We'll do a guided meditation at the end. I do get curious about my first love ex because she wanted to get back together, but logically there were too many obstacles and she made me channel my immature side. I do get curious about my first love ex because she wanted to get back together, but logically there were too many obstacles and she made me channel my immature side. Well, I'm going to just stop you there. And Skinner, you're one of my favorites, but anytime you take the route of someone made you, really? Is there a way to be a little bit more accountable or responsible for being a little immature? Was there another option than being immature? Could it have just been your age? I don't know. But giving someone else the power of making you do something when there's not any kind of forceful item in their hand take a little bit of responsibility on that, right? She made me channel my. You could say I was just really immature at the time. And you know what? When you look back at your life, myself included, oh my goodness. Thought I had it all figured out many times for many years, for many different times. And every year, every trial and tribulation, it's wisdom currency. All right, folks, it's been good. It's been grand. Excellent. I'm glad everyone joined the chat today. It's been spirited. Maybe I worded it wrong because when I say that, I mean, I thought not in action. I'm with you, Skinner. I appreciate you, bud. Thanks for always chiming in. Be nice to get a session with you sometime. All right, folks. I'll be back on tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Take it easy.